Hello and welcome to everyone to my channel. It's 2019, so I figured it's the beginning of the new year. I should make this video. I should make a predictions slash most anticipated albums video for this new year. I'm going to make this kind of briefer, so I'm not going to spend too much time going into each artist, but I did feel like for anyone who doesn't follow me on Twitter, which I did kind of spill all of my anticipated lists on Twitter, and they were like quite extensive. I thought, you know what, I'll just make a video about it, even though I know I've been a little bit MIA with videos recently. Bear with me, I'm trying to kind of find a schedule that works for me. Because of course, I do continue to plan to review upcoming new releases from artists that I love. And obviously, here and there, I do want to go back and review older things as well, because there's still a lot of stuff I feel like I haven't gotten to. So without further ado, I'm going to go through mostly in no particular order, though I am going to save the #1 artist for the end, which is probably pretty predictable if you follow my channel. But I will just keep it in that order. So I'm going to count down 15 artists here that I'm excited about. So the first artist is... So Sara Bareilles has announced, kind of unofficially, but at the same time, I do feel like she basically did confirm that she has a new album coming out in 2019. She released her lead single, Armor, in October. It was a song that I was really sick when it came out, and I wanted to make a review for it, but I just didn't feel like I could get myself in front of the camera and talk about it. It's one of the few songs that came out this fall that I really wish I had actually been able to film a physical track review for. So I also figured, I was like, why don't I kind of get a chance to just talk about it now? But I'll talk about it more when the album drops. But Armor is an interesting track. It's taking her in a slightly jazzier direction. Obviously, she's coming off of Waitress, the musical, which was the musical that she wrote herself and is a part of the production for. And I knew that she was probably going to take a while to sort of get back to releasing what she considers pop music. And I was so thrilled to see that she is finally coming back, because I wasn't sure how long we were going to have to wait till we got a follow-up to 2013's The Blessed Unrest, which is a gorgeous singer-songwriter pop record, one of the best albums of that year, and one of the best albums of this decade, in my opinion. And I am so excited to see what she delivers. And with Armor, obviously there is a angsty, kind of feisty feminist undertone to this song, singing about you can't, knock down my sisters. We just put on our armor. We come back stronger. Your words don't hurt us. They just deflect right off. And it could be a little cheesy and cliche, but she changes the lyrics up to be this very interesting storytelling narrative about, the fall of man from the Garden of Adam and Eve to, resilience in this new politicized era that we live in. She weaves this beautiful lyrical, poetic storytelling arc. And I think that obviously it showcases her brilliant songwriting skills. I think that maybe shines a little bit more than the melody. It's catchy enough, but it's not quite so iconic as some of her past hits, which is why it's obviously not taken over the radio, though it could be a sleeper hit. Brave was in a lot of ways a sleeper hit, and so was Love Song. So she always kind of creeps up into the radio last minute after even the album's been released. The lead single finally gets big. So I'm curious to see what our new Sara Bareilles record will sound like, but I am very excited. Miss Lana Del Rey has confirmed that her upcoming record, Norman Effin Rockwell — I'm not going to curse on this channel, I'm sorry, it's just I have to be that way. And but you know that that's an expletive, and I wish I could say the full thing. And it supposedly is coming out on March 29th, though no one has confirmed that date. It's looking very, very, very likely. So obviously, I'm a huge Lana Del Rey fan. I'm going to have anything that she releases is going to be highly anticipated for me. We're getting a new song, which is called Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, but I have it. The award for longest song title obviously is now going in her hands. That's a bit of a clumsy title, and I don't know, it may get abbreviated in my playlist on my phone, but I definitely feel as though this album is going to be very raw, very personal, and very introspective, which is, of course, all of her albums are. Let's be real. When has she never been introspective? But I think that she's really digging deep. Like, I think that she's just bearing her soul in complete poetry. And I think that the poetry book that she's also going to be released, similar to what Florence Welch did last year, which is a brilliant idea, will be an awesome sort of tag along side thing to come with this project. So 13, we have Of Monsters and Men. Now, they have not officially confirmed anything, but it is looking highly likely. It's been 4 years since Beneath the Skin came out. They have been working on new music for quite some time now, that we do know. And they did say and hinted at new music in a New Year's Eve post. So I am very hopeful and very confident that sometime within this year, it may not be anytime soon, but I'm really hoping it is, we will be getting the third Of Monsters and Men record. Now, what it's going to sound like is probably one of the biggest questions in my head, because you have My Head is an Animal, which was this very kind of brazen indie alternative rock record. And then you had Beneath the Skin, which was this electronic imbued indie folk rock record. And it's like, where do you go bridging these two records together? I mean, one is so extroverted and one is so introverted and so different in theme and sound. What unifies them, their vocal style and also their lyrical style, which I think developed even further on their second record, though they're both very strong. But where their third album's going to be, is it going to be a mix of both, or is it going to be in a completely different direction? Time will tell, but I'm very eager to see where they go. I just hope it's good. Ellie Goulding is supposedly releasing a new record sometime, what I would predict, around the spring. Now, she released Close to Me, which was a collaboration with Sway Lee and Diplo. And although it is a collaboration, I do think this song will be on that album. However, that's not a guarantee. We may not have officially heard the lead single off of EG4, Ellie Goulding's fourth studio record, yet. But I do think it'll be coming sooner rather than later, as she has been working on new music. And my hope is that I know Close to Me is a similar sort of EDM pop track. I really hope that, I understand she wants to keep her limelight in the pop world, and I don't want to begrudge her that. I mean, she deserves her success. She's such a philanthropic, enjoyable figure to see in the media. Very unproblematic, I would say. But at the same time, some of her pop tunes are very throwaway. So I would really like to see her dive more into that introspective, sort of melancholic singer-songwriter vibe that she had on her first two records, especially her first, where the music was more visceral and more connected to some sort of internal emotion. Because it felt like a lot of her last record was explicitly about, just as much pop and delirious as the title of the record would imply, good times at a club that you can have. And I do think that it's time for us to leave the club, Ellie, and let's go back to the countryside. Let's go back to Herefordshire in England, and let's get into a cottage and let's craft some nice acoustic songs, okay? Because you have a beautiful voice. So Cold Weather Company is an artist that I actually discovered a couple years ago, but then I fell in love with just a few weeks ago. And actually, it was funny, I had said that they were a group that I was actually really excited to hear about an album coming this year, but I didn't have it confirmed. And then they actually tweeted me and said, we actually do have an album coming out. It's called Find Light, and it comes out on January 25th. And I was like, well, great news. And also, oh my God, I'm starstruck. This is a very indie, independent, a non-mainstream alternative folk rock band from New Jersey. And I was just immediately drawn in by their first record, which came out in 2015. I just loved the folksy. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that Mumford & Sons style. I know it can be a little played out, and it's not like I listen to a ton of that kind of music, but they take this sort of feeling of being by the campfire in the woods and amplify it to just be so adventurous and mysterious and soul-searching. So I'm really excited for hearing more of their work. Not necessarily going to love every single song, probably, but I'm very, very interested to hear more. Marina and the Diamonds, or as we may now want to just call her, Marina. She has confirmed that she is going to be releasing a new record this year. This is, of course, very exciting, and I was a little bit surprised because I thought, oh, well, maybe she's going to take a long, long time. Well, 4 years is a long time, but in other artists, oeuvre, 4 years is like a blink of an eye. We're like, no, let's talk 8 years when we're talking about album releases here. But Marina has said she is going to be releasing a project. I am very excited. Again, like of Monsters and Men, I don't know what it could sound like. All of her bodies of work are so vastly different from one another, and she keeps reinventing herself. But I can expect that it's going to be very true to herself no matter what. And it's not going to be purely just manipulated to fit pop radio. I mean, there might be some bops in there for sure, but it's going to also have a lot of emotional weight to it and a conceptual arc that is probably going to be really cohesive and really strong. Hana Pestle is a artist that collaborates with Grimes frequently, and she has said that she is releasing new music this year. So I am extremely interested and excited to finally get a full body of work from her, as she has only released an EP as far as I'm aware. I do need to double check on that. She may have released more than just one EP, but I'm only familiar with one, in which case that's really bad that I'm talking about anticipating an artist where I haven't even heard all their back catalog yet, but I still am. I'm really excited for new music that she has said is coming. And of course, the tag team of Hana is Grimes, Claire Boucher. So Grimes has stated that an album is coming, but she's also sort of said a lot of things that may contradict that. She's a little bit all over the place, and I appreciate that she's open about like having difficulty with writing. She basically recently said on Twitter that she hasn't written a song in 4 months, and that this year was the most traumatic year of her life. As many of us know, there was the whole Elon Musk drama, which she still is embroiled in. I was surprised to find out there's this whole thing with this lawsuit against Elon Musk because of Tesla and him wanting to take it private, and now they want to subpoena Grimes and Azealia Banks, hilariously enough. So there's this whole thing, and I feel like Grimes, who has now distanced herself from Elon, I have discovered, and I am very happy for, is trying to just gather herself and be like, you know what, I don't want any part of this drama. I just want to make music again. I just want to plow forward. She did release We Appreciate Power, which I talked about in a rave review for, but we don't actually know for sure if that's the lead single. It may have just been a song that she wanted to lead as like a buzz or some sort of song that she felt like needed to come out eventually, because it was a poppy collab that eventually fell apart. So I don't know if that's necessarily the lead single. I hope it is. It definitely deserves to be. But I'm very curious to see what, of course, Grimes is going to concoct and come up with. TGC, formerly known as The Green Children. I still do not vibe with their new moniker name, TGC. I feel like it just makes them sound less like, it's harder for them to stand out if their name is kind of generic. Whereas The Green Children has like a little bit more intrigue to it. Just saying TGC, you hear that and you're just like, what does that mean? Anyone can have an acronym as the name of a band. I feel like, I don't, honestly, the more I think about it, I really wish I could write to them and be like, please change your name back. I don't understand this rebranding. It's just, it's not doing you any favors. And I just think that The Green Children was such a brilliant title. It's not too wordy. It's not like it's too long for a band name. I don't really understand where they were going there, but they have released 2 songs in 2018, ECG and Rooms. I never got to review Rooms because, again, it came out while I was sick. But I love that track. It's a beautiful electro-pop, synth-pop tune. It's very haunting, and it's very, I don't know, it just gets you in this vibe. So I'm definitely interested to hear where Milla and Marlowe, the Norwegian singer and English producer, go with their 3rd studio album, which has been delayed several years. I know I've talked about they're going to come in 2017. Now they're going to come in 2018. 2019, is that going to be the year? Well, let's see. Hopefully, please, Green Children or TGC, at the same time, they need to take their time. You know, I hope that everything's coming together for them and that they have a team behind them that's going to promote their work, because that's very important. They're very independent. Miss Jasmine van den Bogaert, aka Birdie. Now, I had thought that this was just a pipe dream of mine, that she would release new music. I don't know. You know, she hasn't necessarily gone too long without releasing music in the past, so I thought it's about time. It's been 3 years since Beautiful Lies came out in 2016, an album that just completely took me by surprise. Did not know I needed it in my life, and it just floored me, jaw on the floor. And it impacted me in such a way that I can only imagine what her exploring her sound even further is going to be like. Because if anything, I feel like she's embracing her classical roots even more. There was this cover she did of that beautiful Christmas song, Walking in the Air. Anyone in the UK is probably more familiar with that. It's like a lullaby. And oh my God, I mean, it was just the most beautiful delivery, and it made me miss her voice so much. So I'm really excited to hear a new Birdie record. And she has basically confirmed that there is new music coming. So, and I've seen a lot of other people say, oh, I'm looking forward to a new Birdie record this year. So there's buzz out there. It's happening. Okay, so Miss Lady Gaga. She is an interesting character. So we've often thought that LG6, as a lot of people will call her sixth studio album after Joanne, was coming around A Star Is Born or maybe just right after. But she has this Enigma Las Vegas concert that has just started that goes for one whole year. I'm a little bit torn about the fact that she's doing Vegas at this point in her career. I don't necessarily think this is the right time for her to be doing a Vegas residency. I feel as though she needs one more album out. And I really especially feel because she has sort of geared herself so much more into the sort of adult contemporary classical crossover genre realm with Tony Bennett, with A Star Is Born, with musicals, Joanne. It's time for a return to dance music for her. Like, I hate being one of those fans who just wants dance music from her and like is like, I don't care that you're just singing and happy at a piano. Like, where's the dance beats? You know, I don't like being that shallow. But I really miss Lady Gaga kind of owning that persona, and in many ways, I'm not necessarily saying I want art pop all over again. I definitely think it's good for her to reinvent herself and not necessarily repeat herself. So that's not necessarily what I'm asking for. But I do want to see her get back into that more experimental electronic pop music because I do think it's where she shines. That's not to say that her standalone, you know, acoustic, folk, rock, classical oeuvre is not stunning and spectacular and award worthy. But I don't know. It's just like it leaves you wanting more. And I really miss Lady Gaga being this more enigmatic, creative figure. I feel like she's sort of stripped away so much of the artistic edge that it's almost like she's a little boring now. And I hate saying that, but she kind of has become like a little dull. And so I'd really like to see her don some wacky outfits again and sort of really test the waters with the craziness again. But that being said, I also appreciate humility and I appreciate that she had to come down because it allowed her to show her different skill sets and get the respect of older people kind of on board with her so that, you know, she's pleasing everyone. And I don't falter her career path at all, but I'm really hopeful that we do get what I would presume to be called Enigma, but we don't know, Lady Gaga's sixth record sometime during her Las Vegas residency. It would only be the smart thing to do because that'll definitely help sell tickets. Follow Beyonce and Jay-Z's book. You definitely, if you're not going to release a new album right before tour, at least do it during the tour. Don't tour with no new music. Okay. Now, Miss Adele has not officially confirmed anything, but I think a lot of people are speculating. There's rumblings that she will be releasing her fourth studio album this year. So I had to include her on this list. There's not much else I can say. She has said it probably won't be titled with a number, so it's going to be, you know, some other title, breaking in tradition for her. But I would expect that in the fall. I would expect that later in the year as per, you know, it's still a little soon. But there is a possibility that may not happen. But I had to include it as it is a highly anticipated artist that has been, you know, talked about. Miss Avril Lavigne. Now, of course, this is an album that has already been confirmed. It is coming out on February 15th. I am so excited. I will be reviewing it on this channel. I love Head Above Water. Tell Me It's Over is pretty good. It's not quite as good, but it's pretty good. And I'm really excited to see where this record is going because I really think it's going to be so raw, personal, and I think it's going to have some punk rock aesthetic to it because of some of the producers that she's been working with and some of the writers. So I'm extremely hopeful that although there's probably going to be a lot of pop in there, that she's going to be nodding to her previous eras a little bit and her roots, and there's going to be some of that grounded persona in there. So Amethyst Tiem, who is a Norwegian producer, an electronic producer named Øystein Ramfjord, has been kind of laying low as he usually does. He's very indie, very under the radar, but he's an artist that I love, and I want to continue reviewing more of his albums on my channel. I've only reviewed 3 so far. And his last record came out in 2014, so it's been like year after year, just like this waiting game. And honestly, I don't have that much confidence when I say I think an album is coming in 2019, because he's such a slow worker these days, and I know he's probably just wanting things to be perfect, and I have honestly no clue, but he did like a tweet that I had made which listed him as one of the anticipated artists of 2019, so at least he sees and knows that there are people out there who are looking forward to his new music, so maybe that'll make him want to hurry things up, or, you know, no pressure. But I would be really nice to see, you know, a new record out finally from him. You know, 5 years is a good gap, you know, so hopefully, you know. And of course, the #1 anticipated artist that is a no-brainer, obviously. This is honestly, like, beyond anticipation at this point. Like, we are at, like, a level of groveling and drooling and, like, slave-chained sort of, like, awe of, we'll do whatever this artist wants to get this out. We need to hear this body of work. I will sell my leg, like, my left arm to hear this album. Curly's long-awaited album, Shadow Works, which will be released on February 22nd. This is an album that has been over 4 years in the making. It was originally going to be in a different direction, but in the last few years kind of went into a more of a darker, edgy direction, but that doesn't mean that there aren't songs in this record that have been composed since before Feral Hearts even came out. So, you know, honestly, even the Feral Hearts era songs, which came out in 2016, like Blossom and Diamond Heart, actually, I think will fit in this album still. I think, obviously, Diamond Heart, because it's so edgy and dark and electronic and witchy, but I think Blossom and Feral Hearts could fit as well, just looking at some of the other song titles. So for anyone who wants the album to be a little longer, I bet you can throw in those songs that came out in 2016, because honestly, I can understand why she scrapped them, because she wanted all new music on this record, but it's only 12 songs and we've been waiting so long, and one of the songs is only a minute long, so, you know, we'll fill this record out. So I have it at 17 songs now. So I'm very excited to finally hear this body of work completed. I mean, I can't fully describe to you just how impactful and important, and in some ways almost more important than the music itself, this project has become. It's just been like, when will this happen? She's been keeping us in the dark for so long, until she finally broke ground on it in November and finally started releasing things. Now, I am not head over heels for Savages by any means. I'm really looking forward to the music video. I don't know when that's coming out, any day now, which I think will help my opinion of it, but I am definitely excited for this record regardless. I think that Savages may be sort of one of the outlier songs that I might not be as crazy about, but it fits in the narrative pretty well. So anyway, I can't wait to review it, can't wait to talk about it, can't wait to love it and sleep with it and have it on 24/7 and just finally have official Curly full-length album in my hands, because her last full-length came out over 10 years ago. Understand. We're not going to go there. So, all of that being said, those are my anticipated albums. There are plenty more. There are other artists that are coming out. You know, we got Rihanna's going to be releasing music. We're probably going to get a new Taylor Swift record. Broods has a new album coming out. Like, there are a bunch of other artists, but these are the most I'm most excited for. There's a bunch of other pop stars that are going to do their thing. I think 2019 is definitely going to be the year for pop music. That's for sure. Rap music, sorry, you've had your time, but pop stars are going to shine this year, okay? So that's my hope, and I'm very excited to see where the year goes in terms of music, but I'm feeling very, very good about it. So let me know in the comments what you're excited for. Please give this video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and check out my channel if you want to see more music reviews, artists like Curly or artists I mentioned on this channel. And I hope you all have a wonderful 2019. Peace, love, and light. Love you. Bye.